All right. Anyway, we're gonna get into this first game. We'll get some picks and bans going here. All right.
DeathTacticus and ALTInsider, both players that we don't really know all that much about.
Yep. Well, we know that ALT is not a fan of redwoods, apparently, because that is the first ban.
Redwoods is spooky, can confirm.
Yeah, a lot of people are finding redwoods a little bit too spooky, maybe a little bit too spy favored. DeathTacticus banning balcony, a map or venue that people don't always like.
Because it's too spy favored.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then okay, so the first restricted venue, restricted for those who don't know, means it cannot be one of the doubled picks. So that is Aquarium for ALT and Library for DeathTacticus.
Restricted is a very good addition to the SCL, I think,
Yes.
and I'm here for it. I think this is a very good call.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the bluffing aspect too. By restricting something, you are letting your opponent know that you don't like it while still allowing them to choose it. If they know what you're going to ban, big deal. They can't do anything about it. So, but when you restrict something, you tell them you don't want to play it at all, but they still get to play it a little. Or maybe you're just trying to trick them into picking it for you. Who
Maybe
knows?
it is your second favorite venue, and you want
Yeah,
This is very
who knows?
true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, apparently ALT is a big fan of PUD because they have doubled it.
Oh my.
And this is a little bit of an interesting variant of pub. It's 3 of 6, where inspect is always off. Which, I mean, that's an interesting variant, sure. And then DT, as I will say from here on out, has banned or has doubled Modern.
Modern is always interesting to see at the lower levels because you very often wind up with panic situations as the clock runs down because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's 4 of 8 this season, but even that,
it's certainly going to help.
Yeah.
The switch from Modern 5.8 to 4.8 is one of the biggest changes in the SCL. Apart from the pub change that you just mentioned, Kletos, all the other changes are a guest here, a guest there, 15 seconds here, 15 seconds there. But Modern and pub were changed the most, and we're going to start off with both of them, one after the other.
And then we're going to go on to Terrace, a venue. I mean, we don't see very often. It's I think universally considered the prettiest venue.
Well, Iron in Season 5 played it a metric ton, and basically nobody else did, but we're going to see it right away here in the first NA cast.
And then finally, we're already getting the restrict stuff going on here. We got Aquarium pick, the ALT's restriction.
Takes the shark bait, picks the restricted venue. There we go.
Yep. All right, anyway, and I guess we'll get right into it. We have DT as the first spy. I see Irish here. Holding a drink already, but also at the bar, so I don't know.
Wow. Can't wait for seconds. Irish indeed. Yeah.
All right. Now, either one of you, I assume Toba want to take it away?
Sounds good. DeathTacticus on the spy, ALTInsider on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I have been waiting for you to say those words, Tobo.
It has been far too long. DeathTacticus opening up at the windows facing the front of the Irene Adler. Looked like she might have been gearing up for a reverse drive-by bug if ALTInsider wound up out of position, but it didn't come to be. So we're just going to step out to the big conversation out front for our first flirt.
Yeah, staring longingly out the window is what most of us are doing in real life these days, too. You can't go to a real party, so you're going to have to settle for a spy party tonight.
A very good substitute, except for all the bullets.
Yeah, by the way, we like to cheer for the spy, but I think the sniper's the only one correctly practicing social distancing, so maybe we should mix that up this week.
You're not wrong. It was a very interesting conversation on the far side, though, having both the seduction target and the double agent in it, but it's very full now, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to fit in there. DeathTacticus having a go at it anyways, I think thinks better of it halfway there, though. Now there's a bit of room, though.
Yeah, we're running a little low on time, even for pub, even though you don't really have to rush here. The fact that you can't go to inspects either certainly changes things, but we're going to get that second flirt off, it looks like.
Yes, it does indeed. Second flirt comes off. This one is a nice close green. So we're up to 85% now in conversation with the double agent, but with 2 minutes to play, no actual mission completions as of yet.
We've got lots of options, though. But what's that third mission going to be when you can't inspect anymore? Especially when you don't have any fingerprints yet. Are we looking at a purloin? It's usually a purloin because bugs are so hard to get away with that high sniper viewing angle.
Well, stepping into the bar just now definitely lends to that theory. We decided not to take the contact on the outside, maybe saving it for later as we pick up our second drink of the night at the bar. First one we actually got ourselves, and a delegate to go along with it. Oh, an attempted drive-by bug coming out of the bar. It's very, very difficult to pull off those drive-bys when you and the ambassador are walking across each other like that, especially with an ambassador as fast as Taft. But the delegate does come off to pop a danger there, the man with the cane. Our last flirt comes off. Here comes the contact. So that's mission win pending now. 1 minute left to play. It does not look like we got caught out for the bug. We've got safety off of the general too. This is going to end very quickly one way or another.
Running low on time on that delegate. I think it might just get in.
He did indeed get it off. We're now in mission win countdown. Safety's off again, but it's never got off on the right person. Does he take the shot? He does not, but it doesn't matter. DeathTacticus picks up game number 1 on the spy side.
It looks like they really didn't have any sense of who was at bar, unfortunately, there. Because normally, when that list fades, you've already got theories going, right? You've got a list in your head. It's one of these people. You can at least narrow it down. It looks like they genuinely were not expecting that to happen. Whatever the result, that's just a clean win right out of the gate for DT.
Yeah, and it's weird because it wasn't a very busy bar either.
No.
At that point, maybe Boots is in there, but it's really just Irish and Sikh, right?
Yeah, I think maybe just banking on something else. Maybe sometimes there's a little jujitsu thing happening where there's so few people going to bar that you sort of let your guard down a little bit. That might have been what happened here.
This was very true. Either way, DeathTacticus takes game number 1 from the spy and moves outside to the sniper position as ALTInsider picks up the spy side, starting at pretty much the exact same spot, albeit with a different character. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'd love to give stats and analysis about the players and their history, but both of these players are playing in their first ever SCL match, so all I can do is watch as everything they do is the first thing they've ever done. Just setting new firsts and new personal records in every game. It's kind of invigorating.
And almost certainly that means nerves are running high. And when nerves are running high, spies tend to slow down. We've got some highlights already, but this is almost certainly just keeping track of bar goers.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And that's one of the common highlight strategies you're going to see. You'd normally see it for inspects, maybe real banana bread, but with inspects irrelevant now, you're generally going to see it for bar visitors instead, and that's the case here.
Does pick up a delegate on his way out, is unlikely to use it though, as he steps into conversation with the selection target and the double agent.
Banana bread.
Oh, a very cheeky play, picking up the contact during the sip. That can absolutely net you some points.
Wow.
Doesn't look like it did this time, though, as he picks up his first flirt from a slight distance from 26%.
Such a cool move, but not rewarded, not noticed. I think this is one of those things where if you're playing an elite sniper, you just win the game, but against anyone sub-elite or maybe just a little newer or more nervous, it doesn't get noticed at all.
I really like these tactics, though. SpyParty is a lot about playing the odds on the spy side. The chances of you getting a low light for a little thing like that is generally quite low, even against more experienced snipers, but the more you do it, the more often you can throw these little things in, and the more likely it is to start netting you wins.
Yeah, the one downside there, though, is that the SDA was out of conversation
there. Oh, the white
there.
swap on the statue!
Oh, wow.
He just goes in and swaps it!
DT hasn't reacting yet. Oh, there's a double take!
Sometimes that's all it takes. You don't need to be it's like way easier to forget about the statues now that you don't have to worry about inspects.
Yeah.
But it's still very difficult to get away with a raw swap like that.
A swap, and the front-facing one too. There's a lot of coverage on the back statue. I think you and I, either last season or the season before, once described this statue on Pub, the one that was just swapped, as the least swappable statue on any venue. I would say the hardest to get away with on any venue, probably. And yet we've seen it 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Really funny. But I think one of the things that hurt them definitely was that the SDA was out and only a few people had a real BB, so they were really able to focus at the end. Not that you need to focus that much to catch that particular swap.
Yeah, that was just maybe not the correct decision in that situation, but DeathTacticus finds himself up 2-0 after the first pair of games, stepping into number 3 as Seek this time in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So I said before, I don't really have any stats because these players are new, but I guess technically I can say that DeathTacticus has purloined 100% of their career spy games, and it's always worked.
This is
so watch out.
Theoretically an accurate statement.
Yeah, that's technically an accurate statement. So that's a really strong tendency. We'll see if ALT notices.
DeathTacticus stepping away from his conversation early to go to another one to get an early start on this seduction. It's a green test, but with just a little bit too much distance for only 48%, which has about a 50% chance to make me really angry later on.
Yeah, that's pretty rough because for those who don't know, 51% is the absolute most you can get. If you're right up against your seduction target and you hit a green test, you get 51%, which means now at 48%, it's going to take at least 2 more no matter how good they are.
Math. All right. So we just got our contact off. Very full conversations. The suspected double agent was in the other one as well. So this is not going to give ALTInsider a whole lot of information. This is a very strong play from DeathTacticus.
It's an excellent banana bread. We get 1 low light, which is perfectly fine. 2 would be okay. And more than that, every other person who's not out of conversation potentially has a real banana bread. That is rough for ALT, who's already down 2-0.
Pretty good briefcase redirect, too, coming out of the conversation. 73% after the next flirt. We weren't close enough to get a close green. We weren't close enough to get a 2 flirt, even if we didn't.
Yeah, and you might as well at that point. The fact that we got less than 49% and a 2 flirt isn't possible, at that point, keep your distance. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and 3 flirt. Might as well.
I actually really, really like how DeathTacticus is playing this so far. The question is, and I think will always be, where is this third mission going to come from? So far, it looks like it might be another Purloin.
Yeah, it absolutely might. And we're one of several bar visitors here. One of them is the lone lowlight, however. But there's still a full minute left, too. This could really test... Oh, wow!
It takes it straight up!
Wow, and the sniper freaks out briefly, tries to shoot, and can't shoot through traffic before finally getting a clearer shot.
Oh, man. I thought because it went so well for him the first time, he was just going to run it back again. I think he may have mind-gamed himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the actual leave into the bar visit, and they could not have been plausibly framing anyone. They were flanked by cast members, as it turns out. The ambassador and, one of the SDAs. So I think it was just trying to catch him off guard, frankly.
I think it might have been. I think it also may have been that shooting for real bit him on the first game, so he was going to try to go for a real on the second game.
Yeah, and this was the suspected double agent, so DT didn't necessarily know that was the case.
Yeah, did we see a talk? That's what I'm trying to see here. Yeah. Interesting.
Either way, ALTInsider does indeed get their first game on the board. It is 2-1 as Insider steps into the spy side for the last game of Pub as Teal next to the Ambassador in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And the Ambassador goes the other way.
Yep, and we have a drink in one of our hands anyway, so probably thinks better of it. Makes sense.
In the lay of the land early on, both the seduction target and the double agent are inside.
We do technically break a little etiquette there with that sip before the first full idle, but again, that's not the kind of thing that's necessarily going to hurt you too much here.
Yeah, especially not down in Obsidian. A lot of these players don't have the sort of experience you need to start being able to pay attention to those sort of very subtle tells.
I've been playing for 7 years, and I still don't have the attention span to pay attention to most of them. But we did see that SIP BB earlier, so we still see this weird mix of high-level play from new players a lot. And for ALT, really, the big thing is now you have a win. You're starting to maybe calm down. You can settle in and go, you know what? I know I'm nervous, but this is still the game I've been playing for a little while, sometimes hundreds or thousands of games even. Just go ahead and play it straight. It's not a whole new experience just because it's competitive.
And in an unusual little moment here, ALTInsider, just before going off for that contact there, when he leaves the bar, he didn't actually take a drink before that happened. Did get highlit for what looked like a one of those delegate cancels that spies will sometimes do, where it doesn't look like they've gone to get a drink at all.
Right. Well, it
But
could be that.
didn't even pick up a delegate from it.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be worried about that. Or it could be one of those things where you see someone approach a statue or approach a bar and you kind of highlight them early to turn your attention to something else, and you don't notice whether or not they actually follow through on it in this case. So it could be either one, potentially. But as you mentioned, did not get anything for it other than some lost time. And we don't have any flirt done either. It really looks like we're committed to not necessarily finishing here. Maybe we're looking for someone to frame, or maybe a time ad is in the offing.
Or a bug that was pretty brilliantly timed. Unfortunately, just a moment too late on the start, and it doesn't take. Was well covered though, so I don't think ALTInsider is going to get caught for it. Does get a fingerprint off of the drink, but we only have 1 minute left to play, and the only progress we have is that fingerprint, the contact done, and just now picking up our first flirt. Delegate comes off to a low light, unfortunately.
Well, that can work too, right? Because sometimes when a low light takes the list, the sniper's less likely to watch in the first place. But I would think that would only work really well, for the most part, if it's your last mission.
This is very true, and unfortunately it's not. There's the purloin coming off. DeathTacticus doesn't look like he's really noticed the list is missing at this point. 25 seconds to go, really guarding this bug very closely. The white time at the window that was being guarded, the bug comes off. It looks like he's looking at it. 5 seconds. Is he going to take the shot? The safety's off. The shot comes off. And DeathTacticus at the last possible second picks up his third win of the night.
Oh, that did not look super comfortable or confident. That looked like a hesitant shot on what is really, frankly, a really good bug. And look at that top left corner. By the way, there are only 6 active missions, and we made progress in 5 of them. Partial seduce and 1 fingerprint. We end up purloining and bugging, and I feel like it very, very nearly worked. That's a really good bug for this level of experience.
Yeah, I suspect that shot wasn't for the bug. I think it might have been for the time ad.
Oh,
yeah, the time ad did come when we were in the beep beeps, which is generally considered the worst time to do a time ad.
Unless it's green.
Yeah, for those who don't know, at 30 seconds, it beeps every second the rest of the way down. So if you do a time ad there and it goes from beeping every second to not beeping at all, that can be a dead giveaway, yeah. Although it's not a mission, right? So sometimes that's a sign for the sniper not to shoot because they know they can wait the spy out, who would add time when they're already finishing. But in this case, that turns out to be the spy who bugs immediately afterwards. They didn't have to add time. I think if they just bugged, they might have won.
Yeah, it may have been, but we will never know. ALTInsider is showing some pretty good spy play, at least in the second round of it, but you can tell they're getting a little bit caught up in the competition nerves, and it's slowing them down. I don't think they're playing at their usual pace.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's going to be a problem on Modern too, which is about 2 to 3 times the size of Pub. Even with 4 missions instead of 5, your pacing has to be good.
This is a very, very large map, and it's very easy to forget that fact and accidentally spend a minute and a half walking from place to place. Let's see how DeathTacticus is able to deal with it. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, look what character we have in this large venue where you need to make good time. One of the fastest characters.
Yeah, Ponytail real speedy.
Doesn't even really need the horse that she's dressed to ride.
Early Flirt comes off with a nice close green for 51%, so that's always nice to see at the start. Oh, hello, Ambassador. How are you today?
Oh, multiple, 3 people at statues, 4 people at bar. I'm amazed we're not taking this.
Yeah. It looked like ALT was keeping somewhat of an eye on it, but it's hard to be sure. Picking up the briefcase to fingerprint, that might be a little bit close, but not a big deal either way. One print down, and now we're going into statues for the second Flirt. It's a white test for 85%, but even still, DeathTacticus is moving.
Yeah, the briefcase might be a little bit close, but it might be a little bit free too, because the left side of the venue is still really heavy with activity.
Ooh, a big animation break, putting down the statue, went for the one cycle and didn't quite get it. Now a highlight coming away from it. Almost got a gift from the seduction target, but I'm gonna have to step into green bookcase instead.
And notice that despite all those statue visitors, the others don't necessarily have highlights. So that is very, very significant. That was a really good start from Death, who might be headed for their namesake at this rate, but we do have the fingerprint done in the meantime.
Fingerprint done is big, stepping away with the book. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds to play, and lots of progress.
Here's the thing, though. That highlight, even if they're suspicious, a couple more minutes are going to pass before this game ends, potentially. A lot of time to sort of forget what you suspected them for, maybe talk yourself out of it, especially if you saw it out of the corner of your eye, which is a very common thing on the far right side of Modern.
Lots of time to accumulate suspects as well. We'll see what comes of this and just how suspicious ALTInsider is. DeathTactic is going for the last Flirt now. Wisely takes it at a bit of a distance because 85%, you can certainly afford it. That's 2 missions done, 1 inspect, and a green book in hand.
Yeah, 17% is the lowest flirt you can get no matter how far you are away on a pad. If you're close enough to flirt at all, it's 17, so you might as well put some distance there. What I'm really worried about right now is I think they know this book is green, and if we dump it in the wrong place, I'm not sure if it's going to work.
And that comes off. Where's it going to be? Is it going to be green? No, it's going to be blue. It's the moment of truth, right here and now. Still 1 minute and 40 seconds left to play. It's hard to take a shot this early. I think ALT is thinking about it. He certainly is. The shot comes off, and ALTInsider takes it back within 1.
Here's the problem. It's been a while since the animation break and the highlight, but think about what happened right after that highlight. That's when you got the green book. So you were probably being watched in the wake of that perceived animation break for a little bit. They're that much more likely to remember you getting it from green, and they take the shot as if they were confident. I think if you do something else, maybe you get away with that, but it's always possible that they were 90% sure on that animation break anyway, and it wouldn't have mattered.
I honestly don't mind the decision, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he wasn't sure he got highlight for the animation break, trying to finish with like 1 minute and 30 left on the clock is something that basically never happens on this map, even with the extra mission gone.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think a big question is too, were they onto them for the fingerprint? Because if they're not, maybe you finish within specs and it's not too risky. But it's entirely possible that ALT was pretty sure and was just waiting for any excuse.
Speaking of ALT, playing as Smallman on the spy side, DeathTacticus on the sniper, in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And this is probably the map that is least affected by Smallman.
Yeah, there actually aren't that many places to hide. That far right conversation between the green and blue bookshelves, that has a lot of occlusion very often.
Oh,
Whoa!
you saw safety off already.
Maybe suspects a bug path, given where we were coming from there? Not sure.
I suspect that's what it is. Almost took a shot, but decided not to. ALTInsider heading into the bar, but does not know how good a position he's already in.
Yeah, sometimes if you could see that as a spy, you'd go, well, I'm not going to do anything except maybe delegate to this person right here, potentially. And by the way, we do that little delegate trick that you mentioned earlier. We walk away with the delegate before formally rejecting the drink. It is a hard tell if the sniper notices, but if they don't, you get the purloin option without taking a drink.
And that can be pretty big. Did already get highlight for being at that bar, though, so even if DeathTacticus is pretty sure who it is, and they are,
wow,
pretty sure who it was, apparently.
Well,
I was going to say they were playing it right. They were pulling back and trying to gather more information, but they just decide to take the shot anyways at the end of all that. And now suddenly we're all square at 3.
Bling Twin just crashed in front of the Amba at the beginning of the game, basically, and then changed directions. They basically could have bugged them twice.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah, well, the thing at the end was Twin was at the bar. He requested a drink, and then he rejected the drink and repassed to the bar to request another drink. And that enough's enough.
Yeah, that's the kind of behavior of someone who's already had a few, frankly. Wow. So that's pretty bad luck. I mean, I will say that there's a bit of a discipline issue here in that it's really not plausible that this character is done. Even if they're acting that squirrely, I don't know if it's just a matter of time and maybe Death is just going to shoot them later anyway. But maybe they're out for BB, you know, who knows? Because the spy has no idea they're being that suspicious. But they were being very, very odd for an AI, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. The party giveth and the party taketh away. And now it's DeathTacticus on the spy side looking to regain a little bit of a cushion in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I mean, to be fair, the other players' initials are AI, so why not? AI with an assist for ALT.
Oh my, that was less than ideal, but DeathTacticus does eventually successfully get into conversation without dying. Now stepping away to see if we can pick up this first early flirt. Double Agent is also here, but lots of activity at the bar.
It's the same thing as last game. Yeah, very heavy at the bar, and I don't think the conversation was noticed at all. In fact, I think you could have crash bugged the Amba a couple of times by now because that is a busy, busy bar.
Yeah, that's a lot. Ooh, there was a big chance for reverse drive-by bug there. I think DeathTacticus, judging by that little camera shake, just noticed it a few moments too late.
Yeah. And it looks like we're just going to timer flirt here, which, you know, I think you can do, especially when the party's this busy. Oh, boy.
Fake contact! That is a very interesting decision. Saw that big old conversation full of the people who just got their drinks and decided that now's a good opportunity. That is a very interesting play.
Yeah, we did knock out a couple other bar visitors too, but I guess they're just thinking, like you said, there's a huge conversation over there with like 7 people in it, and they did guess correctly. The odds were in their favor this time, and SDA was in there, just trying to throw them off the scent a little, and that might pay dividends later.
Yeah, there are a couple SDAs to work with on this map, so you've got a better chance than usual. Oh, the double moving bug attempt again is almost impossible to pull off with Taft as the ambassador, especially if you're not a particularly slow character, and Teal isn't.
Yeah, there was a no talk in that conversation with Kane, by the way, briefly too. But again, still the kind of stuff you're mostly going to get away with, certainly at this level, but more specifically early in the season. When people get in the mid-season form, that stuff starts killing you.
DeathTacticus might be a little bit flustered on the spy side now, has picked up a delegate, but with about 2 minutes left to play, not a whole lot of progress at this point. Now the flirt's getting finished up, but that's all we've got.
It is, but it's only 4 missions, and we have a delegate in hand, so if you say BB and then delegate, boom, boom, just like that, you've got 3 missions done, and there goes the delegate, in matter of fact.
That is, in fact, the delegate going off, but with the SDA here, unfortunately, he has no way of knowing, but the seduction target is, the real double agent, is not going to be coming by.
That's right. For those who don't know, the double agent will not join a conversation with a suspected double agent ever.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, yes. It's like they all know.
Yeah. Minute and 20 seconds left to play. Double agent does decide to throw us a bone here. The purloin comes off just now. That's 2 missions complete with 1:05 left to play. It's not looking great for DeathTacticus, but it's definitely within range. Here comes the real contact. There it is on a white test.
Oh, and that's significant because the person we delegated to, Queen, was back in conversation afterwards. Not with an SDA, mind you, but at least didn't knock out the person who took the list.
And the shot comes off either way. ALTInsider gets a little bit antsy on the trigger, and DeathTacticus is back in the lead.
Yeah, you get that many bar visitors early in a modern game, and sometimes it's just too hard to narrow down the party, and you see someone less than a minute left, not knocked out, they're at statues. It's just so plausible that one of the remaining people is finishing.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in a situation like that. Played it pretty well for the most part, missed some big tells, but what can you do? Sometimes you just gotta see it. As ALTInsider steps back into the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Kletos, I believe you gave that game to the wrong player. ALTInsider with the early flirt in conversation with the double agent as well. Only 30% on the first flirt, though, so we are going to need to hit a green in order to 3-flirt this.
Yeah, we came into this conversation sort of as the game started, and the ST and DA just came with us, really. Now, but the problem is they see all this activity early, and they really don't want to take that banana bread right now. It's just not worth it.
Absolutely. Lots of people walking around, lots of very small conversations. No way to know this, but one of the suspected double agents is actually at bookcase right now. It would just not be a good situation.
Yeah, it's tempting when you end up with a double agent early in the game. Sometimes it's very tempting to just get that mission done immediately, and then have that long silence, for the rest of the game. But in this case, you just can't do it.
Well, ALT needed a green flirt somewhere, and he got it on the second flirt. It's up to 77% at this point. Oh my.
Uh-oh.
Low lights. There's 1, 2.
Banana bread.
Yeah,
now the contact comes off, so we should be seeing some more.
I think we might have phantomed something because we low-lit Duke just for finishing inspects early. Now, that could be a behavioral low-light, but it seems strange, especially because we saw other low-lights too that I don't quite follow. I wonder if we phantomed something.
I do wonder that as well. That is a very interesting point. A
If
couple
not,
of big lowlights missed from the double agent shenaniganry, but we do have our flirt done, we do have our contact done, no other progress, but still 2 minutes and 20 left to play. Oh my, that's... Yeah, I think probably just wheeling away from that is the better call than trying to twitch in. The laser was right there. It was a scary situation.
I mean, that is the best thing you can do. Other than hit the pad, the best thing you can do is act like you were just leaving. You say, you know what? I don't really need to pick up this statue. It's actually kind of gauche to go to someone's fancy house and pick up the statuary anyway. You can inspect it with just your eyes. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Wheels is the only one showing respect for their host here.
Absolutely. Delegate comes off towards the queen. Should be getting the purloin getting finished up here very quickly. There it goes. What is the last mission going to be? Minute and 20 seconds. It doesn't look like DeathTacticus is on this at all.
Let's see the reaction. This is the moment of truth. This is where the game is normally won or lost.
There's the bug coming through to the green bookcase. That was actually pretty nice. He's thinking about it, but he's not thinking hard enough. The highlight comes off, but a highlight is not a shot. And ALTInsider keep things locked up.
Wow, we almost gave that game away missing that pad, and it's an easy thing to do with Wheels too, by the way. I would say on Modern in particular. It's happened to me, frankly. That hit pad, it's the same as every character, but the model's so much bigger. But they did exactly the right thing after making the mistake, which is play it cool, get out of there, and just continue on. And as you're saying, yeah, a highlight at the end of the game for a bug, you'll take that every time. Delegated to Queen again, by the way. I don't know what the spies have against her.
And now DeathTacticus came out ahead 3-1 after the first doubled map. ALT answers back. It's 4-4 with 4 games left to play. The next 2 are going to be on Terrace, basically Balcony the sequel. DeathTacticus is going to be starting things off on the spy side.
We're teal again.
ALTInsider on the sniper.
How many times is this now?
2, 1, playing it.
I think Tobo actually answered your question. 3, right?
I think so.
I think his first guess was correct. The other 2 guesses, not as much.
Starting things off at the bar, a very early delegate comes off and eyeing up the seduction target for good reason.
Yeah, might as well take it. Again, there's no reason not to take the delegate in that situation if you're taking a drink anyway. You might use it, you might not, but you could.
First flirt comes off for 34%. That delegate is a nice little thing to have in pocket, even if it's probably not going to get used.
And not only that, but you can send someone to bar near the end of the timer if you don't want a purloin to take and just create more bar activity. One more thing for them to look at. It's all upside, really.
That's true. It's basically like a free recommendation before they're even in the game.
Yeah, one of the upcoming features, for those who don't know, recommendations, spies being able to convince partygoers to go to different parts of the venue for them. It's not in the game yet, but you're right, that is kind of a little taste of what it might be like.
Double agent at bar at this point, seduction target at statue. Not much for DeathTacticus to do at this point.
Oh, and we should mention Fingerprint is the mission taken off here. It's 3 of 6, not 3 of 7, and it's usually a question. Most people take off Swap for the kind of same reasons people don't swap on Pub, or normally don't at least, today notwithstanding. But Fingerprint is off this time.
Seduction target goes back to the other statue. You might have to chase him at this point because time is not your friend on this map.
No, we did add a little bit of time to it after SCL4, I think it was, but you still can't afford to dawdle too much. Unless you don't want to finish, of course.
That does not seem to be on DeathTacticus' mind at the moment. Lots of time gone. All we have is that first flirt at this point. Another delegate comes off as we step into conversation with the double agent. We might be able to force a banana split here.
Yeah, we might be able to do that. And by the way, delegating to a cast member, they know it's not going to be the cast member who did it, but sometimes they don't really watch either when the cast member takes, although it doesn't matter now because the DA left.
She just goes to bar on her own.
Yeah, it's like a delegate, but you don't actually get mission credit for it.
There's a delegate, but there's a shot! ALTInsider found a target that unfortunately wasn't the correct one, and DeathTacticus reaps the benefits.
Yeah, Kane with the inspects and then hanging around the ambassador. That's pretty rough. That's wild AIs again. Mind of their own.
Absolutely. It feels bad from the spy side of things when your seduction target is spending so much time at the statues, but from the other side of things, it just looks real suspicious.
Yeah, that AI karma, by the way, it made good real quick. It's now given each player kind of a free spy win.
Absolutely. And ALT is going to have to fight for his, coming back to try to keep things tied up in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Playing as the character that was shot for being a spy-like AI the first time.
Well, this is a busy bar. Jesus Christ. That was... Okay, Teal just had the most AI path I have ever seen.
Well, and ALT had a spy path, which is to say they bailed on that conversation immediately when the game started because they saw this bar and wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. This is certainly one way to start the terrace. Just absolutely overwhelm Toby.
Yeah, or just a big old radioactive bar rush. Normally, yeah, oh boy, we're just going to purloin in that mass of humanity.
I love it.
It's not a gulp, though. It's just a sip. And we're sipping again.
The second one. Gulp, though? No.
Oh, we can roll it for the gulp.
The double sip.
I think there was just such a mash there where we basically reached through other people, and it works. The chaos works. The sniper thinks it's one of those two.
Oh my god, I have no idea what just went on back there, but it worked. Doggone it.
Uh-oh. And this is weird, because the two people the sniper thinks it is, one is out of conversation and the other doesn't have a real DA. I don't think ALT has a good sense of how well this worked, actually.
Yeah, I don't think so either. DeathTacticus is now bringing some people back up. I don't think DeathTacticus actually really knows what to do at this point. I think he knows he's made a mistake.
Yeah, that's the big test right here. It's humility. It's, okay, how sure am I that my original read on what happened is right, or did I miss something? Bringing Seek back up is actually a really good sign because it shows they're re-examining things, and that's the kind of precursor you might need to actually think about shooting a low light here, because you know something is wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just worried it's not going to be enough, especially with both the twins back there being all innocuous together.
Yeah, but you got to fake here. I don't think ALT has no reason to think this is going to work, but if they fake here and Teal gets a real BB, that'll probably win the game. Here's the weird thing, though. They don't look confident that Ponytail was out for it. I think they're worried about a split because they never got low lit, even though it's ostensibly down to those two.
I think you're right. First flirt comes off. I think ALTInsider is just going to try to play the slow. Unfortunately, with only a minute and 10, there's might not be enough time to do that.
How confident are they that Teal doesn't have a print, though? Pretty confident, probably, because all this shenaniganry happened at the beginning of the game. But they're going to take a drink right after the Amba, too? Two quick prints?
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
This is terrible. What is the AI doing? AIs have a death wish.
He's not taking the bait, though.
I don't know if they realize they have the prints. They're not reacting to either print. Is it just not occurring to them that that's what's happening?
Fingerprints are off is why. We're done.
Oh, right, of course. My God. And if the fingerprints had been left on, this game would be over.
85% off the second flirt, but we're gonna need to move for the last one unless this shot comes off. We saw the safety come off for a moment there. I think if Ponytail talks again, no, Seek talks instead. There's the bullet. And DeathTacticus is not able to figure out what went wrong back there.
Oh my goodness. So the mission selection matters hugely, potentially, because I think Teal would have been dead. But here's the crazy thing. Seek gets brought back up from that low light, was not part of that initial bar rush.
No, was not. And now, we're down to 2 games. It's DeathTacticus on the Spy, ALTInsider on the Sniper, for all the marbles on Aquarium. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Ugh, this is brutal. So it's, 6 is a draw, 7 is a win, and it's 2 points for a victory in the standings and 1 for a draw, which means every game you play here at the last 2 is worth a point in the standings. And it would be the first point ever for either of them.
Oh, looking at DeathTacticus' movement there, it looked like he really wanted that Time of Chaos bug. Unfortunately, had a big old drink in that hand.
Yeah, Death says this worked for ALT. Let me try wheels.
It did indeed. Going for the briefcase? No, going for the statue.
And I think you're obligated to try to take that, but again, I know we're going to be saying this a lot. Not necessarily the kind of thing you're going to get dinged for here, but it looks worse specifically because Buns is right next to you doing that briefcase work.
Indeed. That is 1 fingerprint, and only the 1 inspect gets out of there on the first cycle, which is an unusual decision. Stepping into conversation with the seduction target for that quick green flirt for 51%.
We do have that print too, so half of the flirt is done, half of the fingerprint, and essentially half of the inspects. This is a lot of good progress with no suspicion, really.
It certainly is. Where do we go from here? Do we go back to statues? Do we wait for the flirt? It looks like DT wants to wait here.
Well, when you get that first green flirt, it's a little tempting to wait around to see if you can finish it right then and there and then plan the rest of your game. I think that's the idea here. And then see what the situation is like after this next flirt. See if you're done and see where people are.
You still have time on the clock. 2 minutes and 5 left to play. The seduction target steps away at the last possible second.
That was incredibly close to the cooldown expiry. Jeez.
Into bar we go for the second flirt. It's not going to be close enough, even if it was a green, and it was not. 74%, and picking up a drink, almost certainly going to be a delegate.
Yeah, that will give you that option, and which is suddenly necessary with the flirt not taking. You want to see maybe where the general settles and whether or not you can finish the flirt quickly and make a decision accordingly. No. Huh.
goes before getting the delegate, heading into the statues in the back. That is a very unusual decision, but wanted that last fingerprint. So this is going to be 2 mission completions right here and now. Seduction Target and Double Agent are in the same conversation. This could be a big, incredibly fast finish, but the General goes back to the bar.
We did take a risk, too. We're at that back-facing statue with the shark blocking us with about a minute left, finishing our inspects. There's no BB, mind you, but if you're the sniper, that's the kind of thing that can make you jumpy.
Speaking of banana bread, here it comes. Lots and lots of activity in the conversations. A total of 4 lowlights is not that bad.
No, especially when you're 1 floor away. Where's General gonna go? And they're gonna leave room next to themselves. They do.
Especially now that Red Dress has stepped away. 35 seconds left to play. DeathTacticus now stepping in for this last flirt. I don't think ALTInsider is on this enough to take this shot. It's now mission win countdown, and I'm not seeing any reaction from Insider.
Yep, this is looking like that first SCL point right there on a really clean aquarium game.
Absolutely. DeathTacticus has guaranteed himself a draw at the very least.
Yep, and now ALT playing for the same thing, playing for a draw, which is a rough thing to do on the spy side. Spy games are tough enough potentially, and now a draw is the best you can hope for. But it's also your first match, and you're thinking, you know what, here I am. Might have been really nervous in the beginning, might have started off behind, but now I've got a chance to score a point anyway.
One more game, Insider. Let's see if we can make it happen. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting off at the statues.
Yep, and there's going to be statue highlights, it looks like, too. No. Highlights for early books, too? Oh, boy. There's those highlights for, let's see, doing things is what I'm coming up with.
Fair.
Highlights for doing things. Okay, that might get out of control pretty quickly, but maybe there's some method to this madness that I have not yet ascertained. We'll find out soon if these highlights persist.
Well, it could just be highlights for statues and also for Smallman.
Yeah, I think Kane might have been at books too. No, there was another book visitor. Whoa, the sniper is freaking out on the sniper cam, by the way. They do not like what's happening right now.
Lots of activity at the bar. ALTInsider gets that delegate without a drink.
Yeah, interesting. And I wonder, they could wait for Middle Shark to come by in just a moment, obscure that entire conversation, delegate then. Nope, we're going to delegate with Bottom Shark to Buns.
So Purloin is very much in play. Bar is clear. Purloin comes off. No reaction yet.
Yep. The hairdo there was blocking it until just about now, and now Death sees it and is frustrated. They might have it narrowed down, but they are really hesitating right now.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure Death knows what to make of this. Some lowlights are coming off. More lowlights. I think Death has it down to just a few characters. The contact comes off. That's another big lowlight.
I don't think ALT has to finish here. The twitchiness on the sniper side, the fact that there are still this many people around, I really think you're going to get a shot here.
Yeah, I think so. I'm surprised he didn't go all in lowlight Smallman and Boots, but the Smallman's gone down at this point. Now stepping in to conversation for the first flirt. We're down to 6, and they're all highlight.
They're all highlight. They're all glowing. Yeah, and some of them are moving around too, and there's 90 seconds left. The odds are pretty good that one of them is going to do something.
The bug attempt behind the shark! It just didn't quite get out there fast enough.
Yep, that's pretty rough. And now ALT, knowing it didn't take, has to make a decision. There's nothing for you at bar here other than wasted time, though.
1 minute and 15 seconds to play. Wasted time is not something we can afford right now. One more statue visit and a close green flirt is what stands between ALTInsider and his first, or just a shot from DeathTacticus. That works too. We're tied at 6, a point apiece. DeathTacticus and ALTInsider draw their first ever SCL match.
The timing is huge too because ALT was headed for that back statue, almost certainly thinking about an inspect swap. Inspect at minimum though, but Seek goes there first, obviously not confident about which of the remaining suspects had done it, so it's the first one to go do something at a major mission site like that. It happens to be Seek, and that means a draw, and hey, everybody's a winner. They both, in their first match, score at least a point.
I'm legitimately pretty impressed by some of the stuff I saw in that match.
Yeah. No, it's we say it every season now, right? Because it's true, and it's truer every season. They get good so fast. It's horrifying.